Hey everyone, welcome to episode 7 of Chats with T. This is the podcast where we speak to different technology, business, and thought leaders, and we get a bit more insight into the spaces that they're working in and the great impact that they're having. Today's guest is a gentleman I've been really looking forward to interviewing. We had an opportunity to work together briefly back in the day, and I'm really excited to be able to get to interview him today and just for us to get to learn more about his story. So, without further ado, David, karibu sana to the podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Raj. It has been a long time coming. So happy to be here.
Yeah, excited to have you on as well. So we'll get right into it. I'd like us to understand more about your early days. Could you share your journey into software engineering and what exactly inspired you to pursue this path?
Yeah, sure. So my journey in software engineering wasn't I didn't think about joining software engineering at first. It was a completely different path. In the beginning, I wanted to be an animator. So yeah, so what had happened is when I was a kid, I really loved cartoons, really loved animations, and I was always curious about how do I draw them, how do I make them move, and this is how I came to learn about their software that do this work. Apart from drawing, as an artist, you have to put in some work in a software like Blender 3D or Maya, or there's so many other softwares, and then you could be able to create your animation, create your movie, and that really sparked a huge interest in me. Now with computers as well, and I was interested in doing the same. I wanted to work at DreamWorks, to work at Pixar, like those are my dream companies. But also at the same time, I also was interested in anything technology really, like how does a computer work? Because my older brother, he had done computer engineering back in the day, early 2000s. So nobody had a computer back then. So when he brought a computer back home, it was such a huge thing. It sparked a lot of interest in me. Also, playing one of the first video games on that computer, very very old computer, one of the first laptops I've ever seen. Like it was huge, back in like 2002, if I remember. And it was really interesting. I think it was a game called Dave.
I remember Dave.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so coincidental. Yeah, so yeah, it was really interesting, and I was really curious. How do you do all these things? And as years passed by, I really started getting into that area, trying to work on my own animations, trying to learn 3D modeling, 3D animations on my own. You just go to the cyber because there's no internet at home. Uh, uh, Look for resources. They want as many, but at least for some things like 3D animation, some few people had already started putting that content out on YouTube. So it was kind of available, and I dived deep into that area. So coincidentally now, when I was looking into Blender 3D, the software, I realized that you could script. So some things you could automate, and the language of use there was Python. So it was really interesting, and you could be able to do even some little game like movements with it. So like controlling the mouse, controlling a model using the keys on the keyboard. You could be able to script that using Python, and it will work. So that was really really like a revelation to me. Like okay, so there's much more that you can do using this computer. And yeah, so from there I had not yet realized about the whole other side of web development, these websites and whatnot. I wasn't really into that until a friend of mine, he's called Tony Orlando. So he used to be a neighbor of mine back in the day. So Tony Orlando, I currently now is the chairman of the Virtual Assets Chamber of Commerce. So you might have seen him around.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was doing a course at Immobilis back then on mobile development and web development. And he came back home one day and he was showing me, a website that he had built. And I was really interested. I was like, wow. So he actually built this website and he hosted it on the internet. And then he started showing me how to structure a website, how to set up the tables, whatever. And I was like, hey, okay, so this is something I'm really interested in doing. Yeah, so while at school now with my friends, it's something that we could also try out here and there during the little time we were given in the computer room. So kind of sneak in a little bit of of web development there. So there's a friend of mine who was a little bit more advanced there. So, but we were not really serious with it. Like I didn't see it as a career like I wanted to pursue. My career still was animation, film, cinematography. That was the area that I was really interested. And even after high school, that was my top pick actually. I wanted to do film and animation. That was what I wanted to do. So after high school, it was around 2013. I was in a high school kind of a church organized youth development program at my local church. And in that program now, we did a course called ICDL. I think it's still around even today. So it's called the International Computer Driving License. So in that course, you learn mostly the Microsoft packages, but now a little bit more in depth. But also you really dive deep into that area and then do an exam at the end where you are certified that you really understand it. Is a timed exam, a proctored exam that you have to do. So it's a paid course. So within that time, you had access now to computers. So a lot of guys are really mostly into playing games on there. So during the free time, it's just playing games, surfing the internet. But then a few of us, I think about 3-4 of us, started looking into web development. Like we just started building websites, our own websites. So we decided, okay, so let's make our own websites, and then each and every day we come and see the progress that everybody else has been able to do. And through that, a friend of mine, I found somebody in church coding PHP. So it was very interesting. Yeah, so we were just walking around, and then we saw a guy, seated down somewhere, and and now we could understand programming, so we could see on his screen, he's programming something. So he's not just doing anything. He's programming something, but it didn't look like HTML. So coming to ask him, what are you doing? That's when he explained to us that I'm doing PHP, and you can do ABCD with PHP other than using the normal HTML, CSS for web development. And that's how I learned about that he had a company and this was his career. So that was really interesting to me, because now I was really interested in web development at that point. Yeah, so I think I can shout out to him, Steve Zioka, because through that he was the first person to give me an internship at his company in 2013, before campus. It was actually around this time. So 12 years ago now is when I joined Steve at his company here in Muthaiga. It's called Websoft Development. And at the companies where, now I really dove deep into building my own website. That's when I launched my own website. Started doing some few things, game development. Just making some fun games using a very old language called Basic. There's a certain variant of that Basic that is specific to game development that you can use it even for 3D games. I started learning JavaScript. I started learning all those things. I was just juggling languages. So he gave me a book called PHP. I don't remember, but it had a lot of projects, PHP based projects that at the end of the day, you'll end up building your own project end to end, like multiple projects. So I learned PHP through that book, like end to end. I read that book end to end, and that's how I knew PHP. PHP became my thing for many years. I became a freelancer for since I joined campus until 2017. I was just a freelancer doing websites, doing web applications here. Sometimes, doing a project for church, some, internal projects. I was just volunteering for that with some other developers as well. So that's how we learned. That's how I built also some skills in terms of leadership skills, where I could be able to work with a team of other young guys, and then we were working on building, say, like a church management system, and I built a lot of experience through that, and that really helped me now in the next year, in the following year after campus. So that was 2018, when I came to learn about Andela through a friend of mine. So a friend of mine, Daniel, we were with him in high school, actually, back in high school. So since Form 1, he had joined Andela. So at the time, he had already left campus. He finished a year earlier. I think his campus was didn't have so many years, to finish school. So he finished a little bit earlier than me. So before you actually even finished, he had joined Andela now as in part of the cohorts, the earlier cohorts that were there in 2016. So he had been there for a while. So he always used to tell me, "Hey, why don't you apply and join? Like, you're getting paid to program. You're getting paid to learn." And also, it's a really good environment. You network with other people. Yeah, but I wasn't really interested, like, in joining the cohorts at the time. I was like, I don't want to do that. At the time, I was like, I've already done a lot of, freelancing, contracting here and there. I didn't want to join like a cohort and then join. So what I did was I saw just a random post, like Andela had posted, you want a senior Python developer. I think it was Python developer. I wasn't a Python developer, but I knew Python, like, just the language. I knew the language, but I didn't have like specific experience in that area. But I just applied it anyway. I applied anyway, and then I got rejected. They sent another job post online. I saw it. I applied. I got rejected again. Then another time now, like it was like a period of like 3 months. So it was like 2018. I was trying to figure out, okay, so what do I do now? Like, do I just continue applying to Andela, continue applying outside there, or continue doing freelance? But freelance was really hard. Getting clients, managing clients. I didn't want that. I wanted a stable job. I also didn't want to work at a bank at the time. Those were the like available options. Coincidentally, now Andela had a senior PHP engineer position. So I was like, yes, like this is my opportunity, because I was living and breathing PHP since for 5 years. Like, I knew PHP end to end at the time. So so I qualified this time. So shout out to Naomi, the recruiter. I still remember her to this day. She sent me the tests and whatnot. I did the tests. I passed the tests. I even corrected the tests themselves. They were wrong. There's some issues with them. So I sent feedback to her and everything, and she was able to communicate to the team. And I was progressed further to the next steps. I did all the interviews with other engineers, then with the director, the operations team, until I joined Andela. And that was my big break, I would say, because that opened doors to many, many other opportunities after that.
Awesome, David. Thank you for just giving us that history and also just taking us back in time. I think with all the stories you've shared, our ages are now showing, because this was pre having internet in the house and stuff like that. I do remember that. Enziza Kwenda, like to the cyber, or you mentioned Immobilis. I'm actually an alumni
Mm.
of Immobilis. So when I was still, was it just after uni or during? Yeah, I think slightly after uni. I was still staying at my parents. We didn't have like Wi-Fi at home, so I'd find that I'd just get on a mat, go to Westlands, stay there like the whole day. I was learning and just leveling up, and then you go back in the evening, and then in the evening you try and just download videos from YouTube, stuff that you'll do at night, and then come back the next day. So I totally get it. And then also for game development, um, I had a short stint while still at Immobilis. So when you're saying like 3D modeling, at the time we were using, I think, 3ds Max. I was familiar
Yeah.
with Blender also. So yeah, and then also Unity for mobile game dev as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, thanks for sharing your history. It's just taken us back in time. I think one of the other things that were pivotal in your journey, because I was just researching and looking you up, was hackathons, right? So I read your blog and you spoke about two main hackathons that you participated in. I think there was the Booking.com holiday hackathon and as well as the Facebook Messenger bot hackathon. Can you share with us what was your most memorable hackathon project and what made it stand out?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so during my time, in university, I really look forward to community events. I was part of the Facebook developer circles, community, the Python developer circles, Python developer meetups groups. I'm also still part of to this day, like even I go to on Telegram or meetup.com. I'm part of those Google developer groups, the C sharp, like nearly every language. I was going there to those meetups, and that's how I learned about hackathons. Yeah, so one of the first hackathons I heard about was Booking.com hackathon. So that was happening at USIU, no, at Strathmore University back in 2016. So I just went there. I knew nobody. So I was like, let me just go there. I don't know, what's going to happen. I actually didn't have a laptop at the time. In campus, I used to borrow my mom's laptop, a very old laptop back then, and just went with it there, and they wanted us to build something for Booking.com, like relates to travel, and is innovative, and and then we can present it out. Yeah, so at the time we built a bot for Twitter. So actually, what it was doing, it was checking out Twitter posts. So if you're talking about going on a trip, I want to go on a trip to Netherlands, I want to do a trip to New York and whatnot. It will read your tweet, then find flights. So a friend of mine on the team worked at Jumbo Jet, created an API for us. Then you'll be able to find a place to stay on Booking.com, accommodation, and then be able to create a package for you, and then mention you in your tweet. So like come in and comment under your tweet, and then you'll be able to book, click a link, and then be able to book a holiday through that. So it was something that we put together within those like 24 hours. Actually went home and then came back. Didn't stay there overnight. But it was really interesting, and most of the guys that we met there, like we still know each other until this day. They went on to to various places. They're really good. Some in Safaricom, some in another airline as well. The guy in Jumbo Jet is also in another airline now. There's also another guy there who's also doing very well. Yeah, so it really built also my skills as well at the time. Now building bots became a thing for me. So when the next hackathon came about, that was the Facebook one. It was a Facebook Messenger bot hackathon. So it was the Messenger had just been released, in the market. It was new. They now had a developer program. They had just released. Like nobody. It was just new. Like nobody had really gone through it. So they wanted guys to really interact with it and see what they can do. With that developer environment and the APIs that they had. So yeah, so that time yeah, I really pushed myself, I would say, with my team as well, and we were able to come up with a project called Janta. So Janta is Sheng, or Kenyan slang for job, like napiga Janta. Hiyo ndo ilikuwanga Sheng back in the day. That was the Sheng back in the day. Right now we can't really tell the Gen Zs about Janta. Yeah, but interestingly, there's another company that launched like a year later or so. A year later, yeah, something that was called Janta that did the same thing. So what
Oh,
Janta was doing was that it allowed you to find any blue collar worker, like an electrician, a plumber, a mamafua that is near you, or a handyman that is near you, maybe a carpenter that you require, somebody dealing with metal works near your area. So what you do, just it had two boards. So whether you are the handy person, you're the worker, so you could sign up, talk to the bot, sign up, give your details, and then also there's the other side of any random person could come, and it automatically picks your location, asks you a bunch of questions. Hey, who do you want? Who are you looking for? Am I looking for an electrician? And then to search around, who are the ones who are nearby you, and then give you suggestions, and then you'll be able to contact them or book them from the bot. So it was a really good application of the messenger bot platform, and we won first place for that. I remember it because I got a really good device from there. So, new Samsung Galaxy devices, VR head kit, a whole bunch of stuff. So which lasted me quite a while. They were really good products and good projects that we did there. So actually, I would say these hackathons really helped also to add on to the projects that I've done and showcase my skills when presenting myself to even to actually I presented those projects as well to Andela. So I remember actually specifically in one of the interviews, somebody said they had seen this project that I had done, the Facebook Messenger bot. When they're looking at my social media and whatnot, and they were really impressed. They were like, "Hey, this is really cool," and we started just chatting. After that, like the interview ended there, we just started chatting. And it opened doors for me. So I would say, like, I would really encourage any young person right now, especially the ones that are in university or you're in boot camp or even self-taught. Just go to any hackathon, any event that just shows up. Just go there. You never know. Because I've attended other ones like the Testathon, where we tested Instagram and WhatsApp, the Facebook products. We were looking for bugs and then reporting those bugs to Facebook. And it was really interesting. It really built huge capacity in myself to be able to find issues in applications and have kind of build that eye for quality as well in a very short time. So now you'll be able, like, hackathons also push you to the limit to be able to learn what can I do in 24 hours? Like, like right now, there's the whole vibe coding thing, but back then there was no vibe coding. There's no AI to help you. So, so if you had an idea, you have to build everything from scratch. Like, I had to build like a wrapper around the APIs to be able to build this bot really quickly and be able to change things, change templates, whatever. And I was really impressed by that. I was like, hey, I can do this in 24 hours. What else can I do? So, kind of skills, start building up from there. Like, neurons start combining. There's something about hackathons that, it kind of unlocks something in your brain that you never even knew about. So, yeah, so that's something I'm really proud of.
Awesome. And just again, for those who might be in campus or guys getting into the job market or they're interested in technology, how did you find these hackathons? Is it just on like meetup.com? How did you know about such hackathons? Yeah.
Yeah, so being in communities in campus itself also helps. So you find that there are communities in your local campus. So you might go to if you're not even doing IT or anything to do with IT, you can go to where those IT guys hang out. You'll be able to learn from there, or maybe sometimes even flyers. Some people put up flyers around the school. And then now it's also easier now because there's online channels. Like right now, we have Tech Kenya, WhatsApp channel that has really grown, and they always post anything that comes up. There's also global communities like Facebook developer communities, also the Google developer communities. I think now every university now has GDG groups. I remember, back then, some of the leadership people, Kina Roina and other people at Strathmore and other places, and this also unlocked something for them as well in the market. So I'll say, like, really look for them. Go to Twitter, like Twitter, there's tech Twitter, and there's Twitter out here where people are always arguing about Cairo and whoever else, and then there's Tech Twitter, where people are always arguing against Python and and other languages, and who has the best car. Tech Twitter is also a very interesting place, and also through that you also get to learn about the various community spaces that are there. And I would say also, for any student, like, don't fear asking anybody who is already like ahead of you. If you know somebody who is already in tech, like like ourselves here, you could just reach out. Ask about, okay, help me find out about so and so. Let me find out about this community. Can you help me join this community? So like right now I'm in groups to deal with indie hacking, like creating your own applications on your own and trying to monetize them. And when I find somebody else, another developer that is also kind of interested, I always tell them, are you in this group? And then they tell me no. Then I have to put in a join request for them, so that they also be part of that community, and also other communities that do deal with investment and all that. So you find that there's also a whole other ecosystem even beyond just programming itself, that can also help you to access not only tools for learning, but also opportunities for work, opportunities for investment, opportunities also just to push your own ideas. Also, like, it's also a good place to brainstorm with other people. So I think just put yourself out there. Go to online platforms. I think even meetup.com. I think even to this day there's still groups there. So you usually go there and look for, say, Rust group, and then you'll be able to find maybe there's a Rust meetup in Nairobi, there's a Java meetup somewhere, and that's how you'll be able to find out about those communities. There's also a lot of communities on Telegram as well. So I think it's also easy if you join one. It's easy to find the others. Yeah, because even the people in those groups, they're in those other groups, so you'll be able to find the others much more easily.
Thank you so much for that, David. And I believe our listeners and viewers will find this information useful. But the key thing I've taken away from this is put yourself out there, start looking for them, and before you know it, it snowballs. You get to get into the right groups, and your career can really skyrocket from there. Thanks for your insights there, David. So the next question I have is around your journey as a consultant. Can you share with us how you got into software consulting? Was it a planned move, or is it something that evolved over time?
Consulting, it wasn't planned initially. Of course, everybody wants to kind of have a structure in their lives that a little bit more stable and predictable. But sometimes you find yourself you know given a curveball by life, and you have to make do with what you have. And so for me that was the case, really. I think from the journey I've given you, I started off as a freelancer. So it was a way for me to make money, because at home I'm just being given 1,000 bob or something per week. So you have to figure out whatever else you'll be able to to do to get money, and build up from there. So it was more of a necessity for me from the very beginning. Like, I had to use my skills, use what I have, use my knowledge, and be able to earn as well, as also help out outside there. So initially, I wanted actually even to, of course, it's everybody's dream to be able to work for themselves, but it's not very easy. So when I joined Andela, I think it was a way for me now to gain experience as well, to gain that outside experience, because now I just had mostly local experience with small companies here and there, sometimes with individuals and all that, but not the big players, and working in very established teams and whatnot. So I wanted to have that experience and be able to also at the same time earn properly. So once I joined Andela, I gained access now to clientele, that I could work with. So that's how I came to work with various clients in the US, other clients as well, in different markets. So like some of the companies I was able to work with, like Pluralsight, which is one of the big edutech platforms out there. Other companies like Career Now Brands, those were another commerce website that we worked on called Elliot. And it was really interesting, and also like built a lot of now my capacity as well to be able to handle systems that deal with huge number of users, a lot of data, lots of teams, and you have to work across them and interact with them, testing, like yeah, like there's nothing that could be pushed anywhere without any kind of test. So it was it was something that really stretched me, and will be able to it was able to build capacity in myself as a consultant. So now I could work anywhere. Like I could be able to work in whichever environment. I could be able to switch between languages. So like one time I joined a company that was working with Scala. I'd never worked with Scala in my life. Uh, so I had to learn the language like in a week. Like like you're already given a task immediately you join, and you have to deliver. So it really stretched me to be able to push myself. So I think I remember at that time I had a book that I'd been with. I had a book on Scala for since 2017, and for 5 years I'd never read that book. That was the first time now reading the book. I read that book end to end from the first page to the end. Because I had to, I had to learn it immediately and learn it properly and be able to contribute effectively to the team. So consulting has taken different phases for me. So it has been in terms of advisory. It also has been in terms of development as well. So now I even build apps. I do. I'm a fractional CTO somewhere. I'm also also help out anybody, like right now also deal with as a board member at a circle, almost in the committee in IT. Sometimes we also have to have some advisory in terms of IT. So that also helps, and also that opportunity came because some years back they had approached me as well for a consulting gig to do auditing of their platform, and because of the work they had seen me do in other places. And so that also like creates awareness with other people as well, and you also build a network now of people that you can approach, and they can even give you referrals in places that you never even thought you'd be able to make it to. So I would say, consulting is something that I believe every tech person can do, especially right now. The job market is not easy out here, and also even if you have a job, like I feel you never have to put things in one basket. Always try to find other avenues to earn, because I've been a victim of that, where you have everything in one basket and everything collapses in one day. Like it's just a quick town hall, and everybody is let go, and now you have to figure out what do I do next. And sometimes job application don't go through, even though you have the experience, even though you have the skills. Sometimes it just doesn't work. But then these other skills, this skill that you have, it doesn't go away. It's something that you can use now, and approach companies, approach people, identify problems, and be able to and be able to earn from them. So I would say also, even in terms of consulting, put yourself out there. And things with streaming. It's just natural. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for your insights there. One of the other questions I have as a follow-up is, what non-technical skills have made the biggest difference in your success as a consultant? Because there's the technical skills that you definitely need to have, but what non-technical skills have made the biggest difference for you?
I would say communication. I believe in consulting, communication is the biggest key, because you're always dealing with the client. The client may be there may be an technical person and also maybe a technical person as well, and you have to communicate to both of them in a way that they both understand. So you have to be very clear with what you want to deliver. We have to be very clear in what the problems are, what the solution is, and the next step forward, because they are looking at you as the expert in the room. So you have to display that expertise. So you may have all the skills in the world and all the knowledge in the world, but then if you are not able to communicate those skills to people outside here, then it goes nowhere. Like, you find some people are stuck at a certain level just because you couldn't be able to communicate effectively to, let's say, the other stakeholders in the company, clients outside there, who don't understand anything that you're saying. Like, there's a bug in Java somewhere, they don't understand that. They want to see results. They want to see how does this impact business, how does this impact our users. At the end of the day, what is the bottom line? And you have to be that person who's able to communicate that, who's able to balance those out. And I would say that's the biggest skill, a non-technical skill, that I have had to build myself. I believe in the beginning, like, when I was a freelancer, I really struggled with that. But over the years, you start learning, you start knowing your flaws, and then you start learning how to improve on that. But of course, there's those areas where sometimes you have conflicts with people, but then you have to own up and build that relationship again, build that trust, and communication is still the web that connects all that together at the end of the day. So you can't just disappear. I remember one time I worked with a certain developer, and this developer just disappeared for like nearly a month. Like, nobody knew where they went. Like, they they just disappeared completely. Zero. Like, we couldn't reach them. We couldn't reach. Even we started wondering whether he's alive. Like, should we look for his family or something? And then all of a sudden, he just shows up and just gives us a lot of stories, which may be genuine. But now, if you didn't fully communicate them, like, ahead of time, or even during that period, then also it kind of breaks down that trust that we have. We could have worked very well together, but now you start looking at you start seeing the future a little bit differently. So I would say communication skills is one of the biggest, and that goes also hand in hand with collaboration, because at the end of the day, you'll have to collaborate with somebody. It's either the client or the team. so so also the team, especially now when you are remote, collaboration is really key. Working with people, like, across the world, you've never seen them, they've never seen you. They have to know what you're doing. You have to know what they're doing. At the end of the day, it's very key to be able to work with people, because some people, of course, they are difficult. Maybe them, maybe it may also be you. Maybe the one who's difficult. On the end, they're seeing you as the difficult one. So there's that middle ground that you have to find and be able to work with different kind of people, different environments. There are different cultures as well. You find that in some cultures, they don't, some things that you consider normal, they don't see it that way. On the end, it may be offensive to them. So you have to, like, also communicate earlier that, when I do this, it doesn't mean it doesn't mean this. So also, when you don't find me at, let's say, 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, just know maybe I'm going outside. I have to do something. I have to do ABCD and then come back. Because some people may assume, you're just not serious. You're not giving time to this company, and whatnot. Or some people even expect you to just to be available 24/7, like, no matter the time, no matter the day, whether you're sick, whether you're not sick, no matter what your family is going through, and yeah, it's not an easy thing to navigate. But I think over time you find your way. Everybody has their own way of dealing with such issues. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, thanks for your insights there. The follow-up question I have before we shift to a different topic I'd like us to discuss is, I'm curious, what does a typical consulting engagement look like from like the first meeting up until when you deliver on said project? Could you just briefly talk us through at a high level what a typical consulting engagement looks like?
Yeah, so initially, it's more or less like it's more or less like a normal job, but now you also have some cards also on your end that you hold. So in such an engagement, so initially you just schedule a call with either it's either the founder, it can be the CEO, it can be the hiring manager, it can be any top level person that you will have a call with and discuss about your experience. Mostly, if in terms of consulting, they want to know your experience. What have you been doing? What that is in line with what they want, that fits the role. So being able to give a very good experience that is in perfect alignment with them is key at this stage. So also now, depending on how they gauge you and your experience and how you've been able to communicate that experience to them, you may receive a technical test. So some people don't really believe, your experience, even if they do know, you worked at Google. They still give you that test, a specific test to see whether or not you understand or what you're saying is true. Because also there are a lot of scammers out there, as you have seen in recent cases as well. Even the US, like some guys were able to to work for 25 different companies. So so such tests, are really important to filter out, just to filter out people. So it can be a test, it can be a technical interview, or in rare cases as well, you can proceed directly to a team call, or even at times even you can proceed to getting a direct offer. So it depends on how these people approached you. It maybe it's you who approached them. So in those cases, mostly it would be you receiving a test. Why do you want us to take you up on your engagement? But then also on the other end now, if it's them who are approaching you, sometimes it's a little bit more lenient towards that. So like an example for me, it was like for Pluralsight. One of the recruiters just approached me and asked me, "Hey, we have this engagement. Do you want to join Pluralsight?" I was like, "Yeah, I want to join Pluralsight." At the time I was really excited. It was a place I wanted to work for, or rather to work at. So I thought they're going to send me, a technical test, like the normal other jobs that you apply to. But no, they wanted to do a team call. So we did a call with like 9 people or something. So all of them just asking me questions, about me, about my experience, about how will I handle this, how will I handle that. And that was the only call, that was the only test that I ever did for ProSite, and I joined the team directly without doing any kind of coding interview or whatever. So in that case, that's also one of the rare cases that can happen. So once you receive an offer, so after that, of course, if you pass, you receive an offer. Then the offer now is an agreement of how much they pay you, the engagement will look like, the period of the engagement. Then you'll be able to receive an NDA as well. So many companies, they give you an NDA even before you even sign that offer. You sign an NDA, saying how you never talk about this thing for next 2 years, which in most cases people, can't really be enforced unless they know that you talked about it. So after that, then you'll be able to decide on the start date that be able to start. Then of course they'll have to give you now the access to the various communication channels that they have: email, Slack, maybe Teams, whatever. So you'll get the full, like employee setup. So as a consultant, you come into the company. You're coming in as a company. You can be, so if it's not an advisory role, you'll come in as a company as a, like a normal employee really. But you're joining a team or joining a specific, it may be the existing team, or maybe a different team of just consultants. And then from there, receive access, of course, to the various documentation, the tools, the repositories, depending on what your scope of work was. So, of course, you won't be given everything. Also, there may be limitation to some of the things that you can do. Some of the channels maybe you can join. So there's some things, maybe some companies, they may limit that to employees, the permanent employees. But then you do the same work as they do. You work with them on a daily basis, the same the same stand-ups you attend, the same meetings you attend. In some cases, even the same town halls, wherever you attend. But in some cases, also those town halls are just specific to the employees, and then you can just be on the side. You're just waiting to hear the feedback from that, whether or not it impacts you or not. So from there, it's just day-to-day work, just as a normal job. So you'll have to come up, of course, with your own plan, with your own tasks. Sometimes, in some cases. So if like a new company, a new company, a small company, most of the time it is up to you to decide what's the plan. If you're building an app from scratch, there won't be somebody there to tell you, okay, this is how the app will be structured and what all. This is up to you. So those deliverables are up to you. But then also you work with the person who hired you. So sometimes it's also directly with the founder. So sometimes they have that vision, they have that look, they have whatever they want to do. So they'll give it to you and be able to work now together on a daily basis to be able to make that thing a reality. So at the end of the day, now it's payment. So depending on your engagement, maybe you're being paid per hour. So like US companies, there's many companies there they like paying per hour because I think billing is per hour. It's normal in the US. But what I prefer personally is to agree on a specific rate per month. Because I realize that those per hour billings, you can really come into huge arguments with people uh, over what constitutes the hour of work. Because as a developer, sometimes you're really being pressured, and then you work even overnight, and often when somebody doesn't want to recognize those periods that you worked. So invoicing the client is really important at the end of the month. Before even then the month ends, make sure you have invoiced. So on your end, that will also help you with future tax reconciliation. So always have those invoices. So I always make sure I have invoiced the client. I've listed what I did. So there's no confusion of what I did, what I was able to deliver, and then set up your payment platform. So some people prefer PayPal, some people prefer Wise, deal, whatever. So all those I've been able to work with, and at the end of the day, you deliver value to the company, and sometimes you stay long for a long period of time. Sometimes it's a very short period of time. Uh, Shorter than you may have wanted it, but as a consultant, it's the life. Sometimes you're working on you're walking on a thin line, a tightrope at all times. So you may be X at any given point. You're the very first person to be X from the company before the rest, because for a consultant is easier. You are a contractor, but for employees, they have a little bit more legal covering, and also it may involve more money for them. So as an employee, they have to be given maybe severance pay and whatnot. But a consultant can be fired today. Nobody will be able to pay you. So yeah, so it's a bit risky, but then also it can be very rewarding as well, because of course you're paid much more in some cases, and also in some cases now, like in Kenya, like the tax is much less for contractor. So of course you'll get to keep a little bit much more of the pay. So let's say you're being paid $3,000, $4,000. The person who's an employee is being taxed, and you are keeping the $4,000. So then you figure out the taxes later. So that has been my experience.
Cool. You had mentioned Pluralsight. How have experiences at companies like Pluralsight, Andela, and Yoco shaped your approach to technology and leadership?
Yeah, so I would say those companies were actually one of the biggest influences in my career. I would say like at Pluralsight, it was really influential because it was a very established companies, very many teams, lots of people. We are dealing now with distributed systems, millions of users, high traffic. It was like I just come from a site that is mostly B2B. Then I moved to Pluralsight that's now dealing with lots of customers and had to have 99% uptime at all times. There's always somebody who's doing a test, there's always somebody who's doing a course at nearly any given time. And you have to support them, all the time. You have to be available. Everything has to work. So I would say technically it really challenged me and also built me up. I learned a lot about Python as a language. Primarily, I wasn't really a Python guy, but then now I switched to Python like completely. Like once I joined Pluralsight, I just switched completely. Decided, okay, this will be my language from now going forward. So the backend language. Also now it also really challenged me also in terms of collaboration with the teams because at Pluralsight we used to work in what we call mobs. So they have this philosophy of mobbing where you work together as a team to solve a problem. So we come on a call like this call that we are in. We work on a problem. So like I share the screen, and then we decide. So one of us has to control the editor, the IDE. So I think previously they had a shared IDE. So like they used to connect. They used to connect to a common computer, and work with one IDE, and everybody's able to make commits and whatnot, and then you have co-authors in those commits as well. So everybody who was on the call as well is also a co-author of it, because you have to contribute towards it. Yeah, so that's how we worked mostly, most times before. There's mostly the mob tasks, and then there's your tasks. So mob tasks can take 1 hour, 2 hours, or even more. Sometimes you're working on a very challenging task. Maybe you're migrating data to one platform to another. So we have to figure out how do we do it. So I would say it also really helped me because now there's also a lot of people who are more experienced than you, and you're working together now, collaboratively, being able to solve a problem. So I learned now how to solve some problems that I never thought about before. The structure of how to solve a problem was a little bit more refined when I went to Pluralsight. So because now you could see the tech lead how they solve their problem is very different from how the junior developer is solving the same problem. It was a very different. Now this person is able to learn from this junior developer, and people really moved up really quickly because of that. You start seeing changes. Like in a few months, you can see how somebody has changed how they develop, in terms of their skills, in terms of their speed, in terms also of how they communicate the problem and the solution. And also helped me also build in terms of testing capacity, because we had to test everything like TDD. We had to test before we even develop the software. Yeah, so that was a big thing for me. And also now at Yoco now, Yoco is now a different challenge. It was a challenge now, first of all, learning a new language. Yoco South Africa, deals with card systems, card payment machines. So it was a lot about learning about how that hardware works, how everything interfaces with everything, so that we're able to understand how to improve it. How do I improve this system? Because of course, during the first few months, it was a lot. It was a lot to take in. Yeah, so you can imagine you're working. One of my coworkers was previously a software engineer at Boeing. Uh, so you're working with somebody who's been dealing with systems engineering now. So they were really, really good, really, really fast. She was really good at what she was doing. So it really pushed me now also to start working better, working faster, learning faster, delivering faster, and now also help me also take initiative, because I realized, okay, in this environment now I have to take initiative on something, find a problem, and build something. You don't have to wait for somebody to give you a task. Like previously, it was more of like a consulting, mindset where you're given given work, and you have to solve this problem, and you're given to do that. But now in this case, now you have to figure out, what do I do? How can you impact this business positively? So one of the problems I noticed, okay, the support team is really struggling with supporting people in the field. There's somebody with a card device in a petrol station somewhere. They're having issues. They always have to call the developers. So always our team, we always been pulled away from our work to deal with problems. There was no tooling for that and whatnot. So that's how I built. That's where my bot background came in. So I built a Slack bot to be able to support those support team, to be able to manage SIM cards on the field, devices on the field. So using the commands, and I was able to present it actually to the entire company, and it was a huge success. Yeah, so it was much easier. So if somebody had an issue, they just go on Slack and do a slash command or whatever, and it resets somebody's device out in the field, and you're abstracted from all the complexities there. So it really built out that aspect of me, and also working in different teams where I was the senior engineer. I had to lead them. So like at Andela now, being the senior consultant, you're being placed at a point where you're the tech lead. So you have engineers under you, so you have to deal with them. Then you also have to interface as well with the client. So you're interfacing with the client as well. You're interfacing with Andela, because on Andela's side, I also have to assess these engineers as well, give a rating, give them, give feedback on how they are doing, how the engagement is going, what we've been able to work on, everything. So it was something that also really pushed me to be a little bit more structured in how I work, and also dealing with conflicts as well, because also in a team, you also handle conflicts as well. Some people may feel somebody is not being fair to them, or maybe they can be slacking off. Somebody is just there on the team, but they are not really contributing. So I also had those moments where I had to have talks with people and tell them, okay, we need to improve in this area, in this area. Also had to handle some people doing pips as well, and supervise their project, help them out. And some people really grew from there, and I'm really also proud to to see some of them where they've been able to get in life.
Fantastic. I'd like us to shift gears to building in public. I know there are a couple of projects you've built in public. There's one in particular that caught my eye. I think it's called How Much Mortgage. For those who are not familiar with the product, could you just share with us briefly what that product is? And then also, could you share with us what this experience has taught you in terms of sharing your journey openly um, with people as you're building it, and how it even shaped the product itself?
Yeah, so I've been fascinated with the whole building public thing idea. Right now, actually, it's really growing in traction. So around the world, um, people want to see, like, what are you doing? How are you building? Also, it helps build markets because you build an audience, and then those audience are able to convert into users, hopefully paying users. So I had an idea last year, end of last year. So I'm always interested in property, and checking out different property, and I was always curious, of course, about the mortgage rates, payment plans, and all that. Seeing whether or not is it something for me, is it something for my family. So of course there are many calculators out there, but I wanted to build myself my own calculator. Of course, as a developer, I want to build my own. I can make a better calculator. So the existing ones that are out there, I didn't really like some aspects, or I thought maybe I can add just one or two features that would be more interesting uh, to the average person. So that's how I came up with How Much Mortgage. So it started just as a very simple single page calculator to do calculation very quickly and give you your amortization schedule of your mortgage for a specific house. So you can do the reverse, the standard, and then I was also working out also on the investment side of things, where you can, if you wanted a short-term stay or a long-term rental, you could be able to calculate things like return of investment, the rental yield, whatever. So I wanted all that calculation in a very easy interface that is, it's not cluttered. It's also shareable. So that's something that I wanted to do. So that's how I came up with How Much Mortgage .xyz. So it started off, just as a fun weekend project, and then after like a month, like 2 weeks to a month, it became like a fully functional website. Like just keep on adding features. I was like, let me just make this thing good, good enough to be able to be put out there, and anybody can use it. And that's how I designed it. So as an aspiring homeowner myself, and also property investor, I wanted to build this for them, for other people like myself, and also wanted also to build a different aspect for realtors, interior designers. So there was this new thing coming up for AI image generation. It was getting better and better. I was like, hey, why don't I just tap into this and see what it can do for property, and also, for that imagination aspect that you have, and you want to see in my room. This is my office. How would it look like if it was black? And whatnot. We didn't have nano banana, at least, but we had some good models back then that would come up with at least some good enough images that could, give you that idea. So that's how I built the AI image visualization aspect of the website, where you could visualize different property, such as the exterior of the house, the interior of the house as well. So we design a space, and then you could be able to just see different designs. Yeah, so also try to monetize the site as well, because it's a paid, AI is paid, so so if you can get people to pay for it, it will be better. And also, you never know. So just monetize it. You never know where it could go. Yeah, so that was the idea.
Okay, thanks for sharing that. In your post about the shift in software development that you did in 2018, you discussed the move towards AI first approaches way back then. How are you seeing this shift evolving today?
Yeah, it has been crazy because in 2018, this it was just like science fiction, like who would have imagined that, like we rely on LLMs and AI so much in 2025 in such a very short period of time. In 2018, it was like you must learn AI in terms of fundamentally, like, I want to, learn learning, learn AI. Nobody knew about LLMs really, like, unless you're a researcher somewhere, you never really knew about LLMs. Um, so right now, I would say, right now it's fundamental. Like every engineer really has to know some aspect of AI, either to develop it or to use it, utilize it in your day-to-day workflow, or utilize it in terms of improving different aspects of maybe your software. So AI has to be there somewhere, because right now, like, you can't be saying like. You're going to build a dashboard in 1 month. That was the case back in the day, where you didn't even know like how this dashboard look like and whatnot. So right now, if you have that idea, utilize the tools that are available for you, then build from there. I would say use it as a foundation and build it from there. We also use it as a copilot. Right now, everybody's trying to align their AI to be like a copilot for you. And before, people were saying like it will replace developers, but in my experience, I've used most of these AIs. They're really bad, so they're more of a copilot. But also, it really increases your workflow. And if you really know what you're doing, the fundamentals, you're able to really be really fast in execution and be accurate, and also being accurate in your execution, because you can be very fast in your execution, because everybody now is saying you can churn out software really fast. Founders expect you to build their product in 1 day. but they don't know the consequences of that. They don't know, how difficult it is to make something that is structured properly, maintainable over time, that won't be buggy here and there. They also allow you to upgrade it, because like in the world they say, like, of JavaScript and React, things change like overnight, and it breaks everything. And your AI you won't be able to do anything about that. You'll have to find a vibe coding engineer who can help you to fix the vibe coded project. So that would be the case, and actually it's already happening right now. Like, a lot of people build stuff, but then they're not able to scale it. They're not able to build much more from there, because they don't have that fundamentals in them. um, they don't know about scaling, about dealing with different bugs, different things like payment integration. I saw some people arguing about whether you should give AI the job to do payment integrations or not. And somebody was really arguing concerning giving AI everything. Like, allow AI. AI is better than you. But then this person doesn't have the experience to be able to say, like, um, this line of code here will break at some point. This line of code here will be really hard to debug. At the end of the day, you'll wonder, where your money went. At the end of the day, but as a developer, I'm able to catch those things immediately. Like, I'll be able to expertly give it a proper breakdown of stuff, and be able to execute much faster. I can be able to give better context on the issue that I want, and be able to structure the code much better. So it's not about just giving your work to AI. Some people also shifted just their brain, then they're given it, given it to AI. They're no longer thinking even at work. Now you just throw everything to AI. But then there's a danger towards that, and you don't want to find out the danger as a software engineer in production. So I would say right now everybody has to use it. Everybody is using it. So if you're not using it, you'll be left behind. You'll be wondering, how did that guy, build that thing overnight? And yet you are here, just you're here just struggling, centering a div. Uh, but the AI could just center it for you. Like, it's very, very simple. Some tasks you don't have to struggle with. Like right now, like if I'm doing my personal projects, in terms of the front end, I don't really want to do front end front end work so much. I enjoy more of the back end. So I already have my own template and whatnot on structure on how to do the back end. So I'm already good there. On the front end, I'll say, let me build the foundation first with AI, and then I can start, fine tuning things, and moving things around and making it better over time. But initially, I want the idea out of my head first of all. So you'll find me even in the middle of at 1 a.m. I get an idea. I've already built it by morning, and I host it on one of those sites, just to see how it works and whatnot, and then I can decide whether or not I should release it or should I improve on it. So those are the things I'm working with. So right now, so I would say any developer right now, you can't skip AI. And I would say, if you can learn the fundamentals of engineering, the AI itself, the ML engineering, the math of it, and everything, the better, of course. It helps to become a better developer. Helps you understand also the AI better. So you'll understand also the pitfalls. You can understand this agent really won't be as effective. Why is it not effective? And then maybe if you're good enough, then you can also even make a better version for all of us to use, for all of us, the common people, to use.
Uh, I like the analogy you've given that you shouldn't just ship out your brain to AI and expect it to cover each and every edge case. Like you're supposed to use it as a tool because it's a tool like any other. It's just that
Yeah.
it can help you like supercharge your outputs, especially if you understand the fundamentals. So I agree with you on that 100%. The follow-up question I have for you is, how are you currently using AI in your developer workflow? Because you mentioned in terms of working on side projects, but if you're working on like core work for a consulting gig, or if you're employed somewhere, how are you currently using AI as your in your dev workflow?
So currently, I primarily use Casa. So I switched from initially I started with VS Code. So this is my journey. It was VS Code with Copilot. So Copilot came out. So I started using Copilot, GitHub Copilot. Then I didn't. VS Code was really slow in itself. Even though those other ones are Fox, they are much faster somehow than the core VS Code, unless you had a bigger machine. And I didn't like Copilot; it was kind of slow. So I moved to other platforms. I started using Z, the IDE. But then Z also had some limitations. It wasn't yet fully developed. So that's when Casa came in. Casa, came in, and just I just loved it. There was also other platforms like Windsurf and Try, but then they were not as good as Casa. So I just uninstalled all of those, remained with Casa. So now everything I do is on Casa. So how my workflow is I mostly prototype UIs on V0. So I use Versailles V0. Also use Bolt.new. So Bolt.new is something that I pay for, like like every month, just to throw ideas there and build something. But I've also found other platforms as well, which are much even better in terms of UI, because I believe these other platforms like Bolt and V0 have now become very boring. They give you the same the same UI. So now I found other platforms like anything. It's called anything.com, I think, something like that, where you can build an app really quickly. There's so many other platforms as well similar to that. I also use Lovable as well. So sometimes I come up with a prompt on what I want to build, the tools I want to use, the frameworks I want to use, whatever. I throw it to V0, to Bolt, to Lovable, and then I see like which will give me the best output, which is the best structure to start from, and then I go with that. Yeah. So and then if I reach a certain point, and I see like I've reached the limitations of this platform, I download the project, I move it to Casa, then I start developing there, because now there I can work on it like without AI, also with AI. So I structure my projects. Also, I always come up with a specification sheet, like of everything I want to do. Then I build a task list of various tasks that will happen for this project. So of course, with the help of AI, so I use cloud for that. Breakdown and whatnot. Sometimes if I need some research in some areas, now I use Kimi K2. Is a Chinese model. It's really good at research. So it checks out different links, even YouTube videos, whatever, and compiles all that information for you. And then I use cloud now also now to come up with brainstorming ideas. So I brainstorm with cloud most of the time. If I have an idea, I get the research outside there, bring it in. We do research until I'm satisfied, and then I refine that specification or PRD document. And then I move that as well. I always have it in my docs in the projects that I have. So so everything I do, I always refer it to my tasks and my PRD that I have, which also helps to keep track of where I am, what I've achieved. So it helps the AI not to lose track and take a tangent and start doing other things. Yeah. So other things I utilize are Nano Banana, of course, sometimes to create images. But now also, if I want a very good image, I use ChatGPT. Yeah, so GPT-5 is really good at images. It gives some very clean images. So if I have a specific idea, so I throw to the both of them and see, which one has a better idea. Then I can use even the output of one in the other model, and then see what it comes up with. So that has been my workflow. So I build my icons from there, sometimes my logos from there, and then I use those for my projects. Yeah, so it has been really helpful as well. So like for apps, I use mobile apps. I start my framework from Bolt.new. So I already have like how I build my project. give Bolt that prompt, and then it starts from there. It builds, at least the structure and everything, some components, and then I bring it to Casa, and then I update, of course, the packages, update everything. I restructure some few things, but then at the end of the day, now I have already a working app that I can start prototyping quickly, and then from there I can start refining. So there's an app even I built like within 3 days. I'd already built most of everything really. So you're just refining it, making it a little bit better, secure, whatever, and then build the other infrastructure part, just deploy. So it has been mostly helpful in the UI, but also in the backend as well. So if I have a service that I've already established, I understand it fully. There's something I want to do, so I can give it those endpoints. I can give it the context that I require. Then be able to explain what you want to do. Let's say I want to just add a different function, or I want to refactor. So sometimes like refactoring is very, it's very boring sometimes. I know what I want to do, but I don't want to do it. So I can give AI that work. So AI is able to refactor really, really quickly. Sometimes it also gives you ideas that you didn't even have. Then, of course, if you like it, then you continue with it, or you can refine it further. Of course, there's the state of your code that you don't want to change. AI really sometimes forces its ideas in your code base, so you have to really also catch those issues. So I think the problem with by coding now is also it's very easy to just accept everything without actually inspecting it. So like I usually take a lot of my time to inspect everything and ensure that things are going according to plan, in bite size. So break down a problem, give it the correct context, then it's able to follow through much easily than giving it a huge part of the project that it won't be able to work on. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for your insights there. And there's a lot of good tools you shared. So we'll just make sure we link them in the show notes as well for our viewers who'd love to check it out. One last question on AI before we proceed towards the tail end of our conversation today is there's been this huge concern that with the onset of AI and just how quickly it's growing and adapting, that entry level jobs or junior roles shall be a thing of the past. Um, with that becoming a reality each and every day, what advice would you have for students or aspiring technologists on how to prepare for a tech industry that's rapidly changing because of AI?
Yeah, the industry has really changed in the past, I would say, 2 years. The advent of AI now really being into the workplaces, and also the economy at large, as well as has changed. Political environment also has changed. You can see it now with the H1B visas and whatnot. But also, yeah, AI has really also played a huge part, especially for new graduates. It's becoming a crisis actually for new graduates and junior developers at large. At large, they're finding it hard to find roles because most people want now senior engineers. They're like, why do we need a junior engineer to train this junior engineer? To start working and whatnot. You can just get a senior engineer with experience, give him all the AI tools, and he'll be much faster. He'll be like working a senior engineer working with junior engineer agents on the terminal. That's the thinking that's out there right now. So it's really affecting a lot of the recruitment space right now, and companies right now, really more or less investing in senior engineers than junior engineers. And I'll give advice to guys to now take advantage. I was saying like take advantage of the AI that is there. If you already know one, two, three things. Guys out here without any knowledge of programming are building businesses as well with AI. Like they're building projects with AI. Like what's stopping you from building? So right now it's like the building age. I would say this is the building age. It has come in. Before we were saying like this economy now. It came from agrarian. Then it came to this industrial revolution. It came to the knowledge economy. But right now is all about building. The knowledge is already out there. So now we have been given the tools now to build. So it's up to you now to come up with projects, ideas, see solutions around you. I was telling somebody the other day, like, you walk around, you always see a problem. Of course, there's also the other side of things where you have to learn also how to market it, how to sell it, how to, to manage those customers, which is also another challenge. You can build it, but then nobody buys it. But then I would say just build it. There's no harm in building. Actually, there's more good that will come from building, because also you learn different skills as well from the project that you work on, and then also it's another added advantage because it becomes your portfolio. If somebody asks you, okay, what have you done since you are a junior engineer, you don't have much experience in the job market, be able to give them projects that you've done and show them, like, okay, this is what I did, this is the tools that I use, and putting it out there will make you visible. Right now it's all about visibility, and I think the best way now is through projects. I think the project, like for me, the project I did on how much mortgage helped me also get another role, consulting role, that I had now with Nesty, the app. Just from that, they saw they were in the property space, and they were like, okay, this guy seems to be in line with what we're doing. And we did a call, and we realized, okay, yeah, we are aligned with what we want to do, what we want to achieve, and that's how I got that job, just like that. And I'll tell people, just put yourself out there. LinkedIn is free, Facebook is free, Instagram is free. There's nothing you're paying for apart from maybe your hosting. Even hosting you can get for free, with Marcel and whatnot. Just find all the free things. Like, people always write to me and ask me, how do I learn ABCD? Somebody the other day was asking me, how do I learn LLMs and whatnot? I was just telling them, YouTube, man. Like I've been born. I went to school, yes, to do computer tech. At technical university, but I learned most of the things I learned from the internet, from YouTube, from articles. I literally, right now everything is available. If I remember back then, like, I used to go to a cyber with a book. I actually found that notebook the other day, and I write HTML. Like, I read a blog. There was no, like, tutorial. Like, I read a blog. I'm writing everything on that blog. If you have a phone, ile liko na app trick. If you're able to go to a website, you're able to see some of those websites that were there, and learn something. To go to you just used to write them down. There's no internet at home. There's no smartphone. In some cases, there's not even computer. So you're learning. Sometimes you're just learning from a book. It's like you're reading a book, but you're not implementing it. All those ideas are just in your head. But right now, you're able to get that information really fast. Everybody now has a YouTube channel. Uh, every knowledge is, I can remember, like, really really trying to find some YouTube videos even for some of the languages I was using back in the day. Nobody had the YouTube content on that. Like, you find like 3 videos, and then in Asia Upper, like, you're wondering, okay, how do I move from this tutorial? Like, in Asia Upper, like, they made 3 videos, they never continued. Nobody else has done that. The only information is the documentation of the language. So what do you do now? Like, yeah, so you have to learn from there, and then you build from there. Yeah, so I would say just build, put yourself out there. Somebody will see you, and they'll be able to recognize you. And if it's consulting, if it's freelance, you can be able to get into that. Some people have found huge success in freelancing, so you can do that as well. That's an option. I will say, don't shy away from work. Don't limit your mind also to just jobs, looking for jobs. Sometimes, even just ask people for opportunities. Like I did, like, I just asked somebody for internship, and he gave me the internship when I was starting out. Just ask somebody, like, talk to somebody, and that person can be even a future referral. Even up to this day, 12 years later, he's still a referral to me, number one referral, and he has referred me to different projects, and different people, and open doors for me. So I would say, put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to ask questions. In communities, even ask people for opportunities. Do you have an internship opportunity? Do you have a job opportunity? Let me just interview with you. There's some people, just given the opportunity just like that. I just gave them an opportunity. I learned, okay, they're interested in doing code. I'm doing a project here. I asked them, do you want to volunteer and work with me? If I'm able to pay you, yes, I can pay you. Sometimes I'm not able to pay you. It can be a learning opportunity for you. But then, down the line, it becomes something that you learn from, and something that you can quote somewhere in a job interview and say, okay, yeah, there's that one time I built this and this. So like I remember that Andela interview. They asked me, is there a time where you led a team and whatnot? And then I remember that church project that I did, and we were like 9 of us. And yeah, I was like, I led this team. I walked him through how I led the team, how we were able to deliver the project over a course of 1 year. And he was like, yeah, okay, yeah, you're the right person for this. And it was a volunteer position, like, I wasn't being paid by anybody. I wasn't earning much at the time. And you still do it. Some of these things you do them just to get a foot in the door, and to learn, sometimes just also just to help, because that time it was my community, it's my church. I want to help. I want to help out. So I'm not really earning anything from it. I don't even expect to earn really sometimes from it unless it makes money. There's no. I don't really have expectations there. Yeah. So like even Steve, he gave me the internship. He wasn't really giving me money, just giving me fare, sometimes lunch. And just tell me just come to the office. And he gave me a space where I could access now internet, and now accessing that internet was everything. Accessing that internet was what opened doors for me to learn every single thing that I ever learned in my journey. And I would say like that was one of the best things that has ever happened to me.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing your wisdom and just tying in your personal journey as well. I believe our viewers, especially those who are students or aspiring to get into technology, will get a lot of wisdom and also just guidance on the same. So thank you again so much. When you're not deep in code or leading projects, what passions or hobbies keep you energized, and how do they help you maintain a balance in your life?
When I'm not coding, one of the things I like doing is I watch a lot of TV shows, movies. As I told you, like I wanted to be in film and animation, so you'll always find me watching something at some point. I'll find space. I'll find space at whatever point. Even if I'm coding at this point, I'll be watching something in another screen. It's just me. Like I just love that area. I also love photography. I think there was a point I also owned a camera, and what I was really interested in, doing photography. Um, yeah, also love nature and national parks and camping. So if you're not watching me watching people overland or camping somewhere, I'll go to a camp somewhere. Yeah, and I just love that environment. Cooking food. Being out there in nature. It's just very interesting to me, and it's something that I really love. It also helps detox from being in the city and working, because we have very long work days. We have very long tasks. Our work is very brain draining. Leave alone just the maybe physical pain, we'll say, of sitting down for a long time. In many cases, it also has a lot of it's tiring to the brain. So many people may not know that you're tired, but you're really tired. Like and many people can end up having been burnt out, and that's something that also have also been able to encounter in my career. I think any software engineer will be able to say at some point they were burnt out and they were not able to do anything. So going outside and driving. I love cars, so driving around. Sometimes even aimlessly. You don't really have a destination. Just take some of the routes. So I'm on Kiamburu, so I just take a route towards Limuru and whatnot. Just see the scenery, get the fresh air and come back. That just clears your mind a little bit. You're able to think a little bit more. I also love spending time, of course, with my family. I have a wife and daughter. Yeah, so playing around with her now. She's young. Also, it also breaks from the monotony of this work, and also it's a joy. It's a joy in life to be able to do that, and yeah. So yeah, that's some of the things I'm really interested in, and yeah. So I'm always watching something to do with either cars or camping or property. Actually, I love a lot of things to do with building and property, DIY. I'm really into that. Machinery like electronics. If it's building a project from scratch, or like maybe restoring something I'm interested in, and something I also want to get into one day, to do restorations and property and also vehicles. So that's something I'm really interested in.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Wow, we're getting close to the 90-minute mark. I can't believe we've been speaking for that long, but I've really enjoyed speaking to you today, David. The last question I have for you is a question I ask all my guests in terms of what wisdom nuggets they have. So basically, what I like asking is whether there's a book you've read recently, a quote, or is there like an ethos you live by that has kept you grounded, or has inspired you through your career? So could you share with us your wisdom nuggets today?
Yeah, for me, believe all wisdom comes from God. Everything else came afterwards. So for me, I'm a believer. I'm a Christian. I've been a Christian for many years now. So yeah, the Bible is my guide. God is my guide. That's what I believe. So every principle that guides me in my work, in my family, in my relationships, has to come from a point of is this what is expected of me as a believer of God, as a believer in Christ, and also as a person who really cares about that area, because you can also be a believer but not really follow the values that are entrenched in that belief. So always try to give my best as well, so that I'm offering my skills and knowledge and sweat as well, because I believe also work is something that is supposed to be given unto God. It's a sacrifice. So everywhere, if I work somewhere, even if I'm not being paid the best, and whatnot, I always give my best at that workplace. I always push myself. So somebody can ask me, "Hey, why are you putting so much effort into something?" But it's not really just for my own sake, but also it's a belief that I have that wherever I am, I'm there as a steward, really. So if I'm a tech lead somewhere, I'm a steward of my team. I have to know if they are well, I have to know, not only their work, personally, are they doing well? So you have to lead them the way you expect to be led, and also the way also Jesus described that you need to work with your neighbor. You need to love them, you need to respect them. So the same way that you need to have at your workplace, and also in your family, just to maintain that sense of balance as well. Um, so say it's like the proverb of the talents. You're all given something. You're all given talents, and it's up to us to manage them. And yeah, so at the end of the day, we will be accountable for that. So just not being accountable for just my own life, and then I forget there's many other things that are part of that. So always strive to live what is called a cubic life. If you know a cube, all the sides are the same. So it's a daily effort. It's an effort that you're not perfect, you're not there yet. So you're always trying to attain a certain level. So for me, that is always the thing. So always try to attain, being good, being able to achieve maturity, not only just in the things of Christ, but also in the things of life as well. Here as well, God also asks us to be good stewards and to be able to be successful as well. So I believe as we are good stewards as well, we'll be able to achieve anything in life really, as long as God wills it. So it's also it's not only a given, it's not a given really, that if I put all this effort I'll be the next Zuckerberg. It's not something that I have that as a mentality. My mentality is not just about money and living a good life, because all this really ends at some point. So at the end of the day, my daughter won't remember that I was a very good engineer, a very good software developer. Even if she ends up at Zoan, she won't really remember that. She'll remember me as a father. She'll remember me, how I interacted with her mom and the people around her, and how also now what I leave her is the values that I have. Everything I teach her now, I teach her how to pray. Like those are the things that be able to leave to her. Not she'll forget all these other things, but those things will always be with you in your heart. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that, David. It's refreshing to see a believer who lives by the values that they profess and is also having a great impact in the marketplace. For me, I see you as a marketplace. I don't know whether to say marketplace minister or apostle, but yes, it's not just, sometimes as believers, uh, believers are accused of just being very churchy or spiritual, but not practically living it out in their lives. So it's refreshing to see you practically living it in your life, in the marketplace, in your family. And again, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom nuggets. We've sadly come to the end. This has been a fantastic, fantastic conversation. And if our viewers would love to connect with you and find you online, where can they find you?
Yeah, so they can find me online, on Twitter, David Ngugi 15, on Instagram, Ninja Dev David. Uh, I also have my website, davidngugi.com. You can also find me on LinkedIn as well. Usually there on medium.com as well. Some of the blog posts are there. Yeah, I'm everywhere online. So you'll find me on Reddit, anywhere. On GitHub, you'll find me as David Ngugi. I think I was able to get that name as the first one. So looking forward to hearing from people. If any junior engineers out there, I'm always willing to help.
Thank you so much. I'm sure they'll take the invite and reach out to you. So, again, thank you so much for making the time. Thank you for coming on and allowing us to share your story on this platform. You're now a friend of the podcast, so we'll be watching from the sidelines, rooting for you. And in future, would love to have you back just to celebrate the more great wins you'll have achieved during your career. So, thank you so much, David. Have a nice rest of your day. And yeah, we'll be watching from the sidelines.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
All right.